Hi guys, it's Debbie, and I'm going to do a portrait painting today. And but first, I had somebody ask me about mixing, how I mix some paints up in my little blender here that I have. So how I do it. So I was going to do. I just mixed several the other day, and I realized I need a little more of this purple color. So I thought I would do a quick little batch in my little blender and show you how I do it. And I also wanted to say I got all my paints all ready to go, and right after I mix that, we'll pour a painting. Okay, so I'm going to bring you down here. Okay, so I'm going to put, I usually like to make bigger batches, but so I'm going to use all of this, most all of this tube up. Takes a few minutes sometimes to get it all out. Okay. Might as well get most of it out, right? Okay. That's enough for this. All right. Oh, let's see. You know what? I was going to use the golden, but I might not have enough. I think I'll use, might have to mix both the golden with the Floetrol. Okay, so I put a little bit in at a time, not a lot. And then I'll tell you what, there are better mixers for this than this one, but this is just, I figure eventually I'm going to get another one. Okay, so all I'm doing is just taking a look at it. Now remember, you want to keep it on the thicker side. So that's what I do, is I start, pour a little more in, and then I don't add any silicone or anything in that until I'm ready to use it. But actually, I could. So I want to, as I'm moving it, I'm seeing how much, how, like here's a batch I made earlier. It's, I don't know if you can see, but it's moving in there pretty easy, excuse me. So I just stop and start until this is... Now I know they're much better blenders, but this is an old one. It was sitting in my cupboard. So, and it's pretty easy to wash up. I mean, I think I'd rather have like one of those Vitamix cups ones, maybe. I think I'd rather use that kind. But I don't have any of those, so I'm just going to Okay, so now it's getting kind of liquidy, and I want to keep it on the thick side because it's easier to put it down some more. But see, it's real nicely mixed up in there. I mean, I'm guessing you can see how it's moving a little bit now. Well, that's pretty good. But I'm going to want it a little more liquidy than that. Now, you could put a little water in there too, so I might as well do that. Okay, don't laugh at my water thing. I do, I laugh. It's like, there's water in here. Everything I own that's in this room is covered with water. So, just a little bit at a time now, because we're getting near. Now, if I were to use, now what I've done, if I'm making like these bigger tubes, these great big tubes, just say I'm going to make a batch of this great big, much bigger than these little liquid tubes. But I'm going to do that because I don't have any other blenders. So what I would do is probably like I'll do about a half a container in there and get that kind of, you know, mixed up to a semi-thick consistency. And then, hi guys, I feel like it. Anyways, I get it to a semi-thick consistency, and I'll pour it out and put it in my container, and then I'll go and do the rest of the tube. But eventually someday I'll have something that's a little better, but this was just, you know, this is just the beginning, if you think. Especially a lot of areas have right now, they have a lot of garage sales going on, so it'd be a good time to get an old mixer and practice with it. Okay, now I can see it's pretty close to where I won't add any more. I mean, I could see that in there because it's getting real, see, it's getting real movie now. So this is where I was going to stop at, and then I'd pour it in my cup and add the silicone or whatever I'm going to mix it with, and you know, I'll put it in. I don't have any more containers to put it in, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to cover this for right now and go on with making this video, so, and after we come out. But I put it in a container with a lid, but I just mixed up several, and just looking around, I have nothing left. So anyways, that's how I do it. And then, like I said, I'll add a little more of that. We could do a little bit of that right now. So it'd be nice if I had one that would pour a little better. Maybe one of these that are meant to pour. This is made for drier stuff than what I'm using it for. So that's why I was thinking that maybe one of those. Now see, this is still pretty thick. So I will just add a little bit more pouring medium to it, or you can add water at this point. Just don't want to add a whole ton of water so that it separates. But and there you almost have it. Let's see. Still ended up. Okay, so that's about how I want it, because I like some of them thicker and some thinner. When I do my pours, I'll have several of these bigger ones, but today I think they're all going to be very thin. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Well, there's a big chunk of something. It's the side of the cup. Actually, that's what happens if you don't have sealers on them. If I seal the cup, like, I think I'm going to put them in pour bottles, little tubes of, in these. I just threw out a whole ton of these thinking that I had no use for them. And now, well, now I was thinking, oh my God, you know, you throw something away and found a use for it. So, actually, because I'll mix things, different thicknesses. That's pretty good. We'll just, I'll add a little touch of water to it. But anyways, I guess you got the idea. It's like, it makes it a little easier. And then I'm going to put the silicone in here, but I'm not going to do it right here where I'm painting at, because it's not good to breathe. So I'm going to be right back. Okay, so I just ran out of the room and probably can't see it too well because it's so dark. I put my silicone in there, just a little spray. Oops, I set it over here. I want to show you. I've been using this silicone. I really like this one. I like it better than the 3-in-1 that I was using. Anyways, and I've also used the WD-40. I love that too. So, okay, so I'm just going to put a lid on that and let it sit off. Just let it sit over here while we're painting. And I need a canvas, 8x10. And I think the colors I'm going to use a little more teal this time. I'm going to bring you down a little lower, so it just takes me a second. Hold on. There. I wanted to get you a little bit lower so you can get a better view. Whoops. Okay, so now I mixed this a little bit ago, and it's already starting to, the heavier is going to the bottom, so, you know, I'm always stirring right before I pour. Okay, so I'm going to use a lot of teal and yellow. And I've already added everything to these. Okay. Trying to decide as I look here over to the side, what am I going to use? Because I like to change my mind all the time what I'm using. Okay, this bright. I love this bright pink. This is Acrylic. And I've mentioned before, it has a lot of pouring medium in it. Of some type of pouring medium. Or silicone. I don't know what it has in it. But it's made for airbrushes. So it has some type of lubricant in it that keeps it flowing. And so it's a awesome thing to use in your paintings. I doubt if I use this green. But I'm got it sitting to the side. And I always use some white. Well, just in case I want the red, I got it right here, right off screen. Woo! I almost spilt it, guys. That's why I paint on these. I got another purple. This is a purpley blue. It's a little bit thicker, but if I feel my paints are kind of thin, I like thick and thin. I like some a little thicker, some a little thinner. And you can already see in this one I mixed up. You can see, let it set for a minute, and you can see the silicone at top already. Alright, I'm going to just set these over a little bit. Oh, I might not have had you over as far as I thought I had you. I apologize for that. I guess that might be a little better. I might have brought you too low today. Alright, I need a pour cup. These are 16-ounce pour cups. And for this size of painting, only half a cup is all you need. So, okay, I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with the real dark one. Put this one in, this thicker one on the bottom. No. See? This is the creative way I am. Do you guys do this? I'm just curious. You change your mind. I change my mind. What I'm going to use. So it's hard for me to tell you because I really don't know until I start pouring. And then I feel like, oh, it needs this. And it's all because I'm looking inside of this. Let me move this a little closer. Maybe this will help. Because I'm always looking inside of that pour cup. And then if I feel, oh, it needs some more, you know, whatever I think it needs. So that was a purple, but it's not the deeper purple that we mixed. Some. Oh, my hand's in your way. I'm trying to figure out. I do it over this way. See if that helps. There. It's hard to watch a cup and watch. I don't know. I noticed the other day I had my hands in your way a little bit. Got to bear with me because I'm not a professional filmmaker. I'm an artist. I'm an artist that paints. So I'm trying. Okay, so obviously I decided to use my red. I'm going to probably have a ton of purple in here now. What the heck? Here goes the yellow. Now I want to add some of this pink and this purple. Because I could see, I don't think you can see it on the camera. Finally, now we got some cells popping up. See that? How cool is that? Quite a few just come right up from that bottom. And that's the liquid text, that what I just showed you mixing up. See, a lot of these paints, if I had them in one of those little pour bottles, which I guess that's what I'm going to have to do, is mix up a whole bunch, start keeping them in there. You know, that's what I'm going to do. That way they won't be so getting dried on these cups. Yeah. Okay, so this is really enough paint for what I wanted to do, but since we got to have a little white. I don't know why, but it just seems like the right thing to do. Now, I mixed all my paints a little thinner today, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I mean, they're still methyl magnesia thick, but they're very close to how thick. I feel they're pretty close to the methyl magnesia. I'm just moving the paints over a little bit on another tray because I like to bump stuff sometimes. It's not like I like to, but somehow I do it. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's my 8x10 canvas. All right. I don't want to lose all that purple there. It's off to a nice start. I would like it just to sit still for a minute. Now, because this is wetter, I'm going to move it this way. Isn't that cool? I think that is so cool. Anyways, doesn't really need any hitting, but I'm going to hit it. I think, you know what? I'm going to start the heat gun. And give it a quick hit. It's got a lot of cool colors in there. See, I'm a very colorful person, and I like bright colors. I love pinks, and I love teal, I love purple, I love yellow. I don't use a lot of orange because if I'm using a lot of red, hey, where'd all that red go I put in here? We only got a touch down here. I've had a couple of them in the past that will show up with a lot of, just about touched the front of the heat gun on my gloves. I'm curious, if I hit it with this, okay, I was curious if I hit it with that, then with the torch. Let's see what happens. What the heck? Right? Got everything sitting here. I like to use a big heavy torch. Not too much. The heat gun pretty much did the trick, I think. Maybe you could see more on the film. I don't like using that because I always have to turn on my fan. Okay, I'm going to collect some of this. Get my little corners caught up. It's got a lot of pink and yellow. Put that one down here. I love the rounded edges of my little bucket catcher there because it stops it from going too far. Now, okay, I like this. I love this painting, but I'm like, when I don't get enough cells, I'm upset. When I get too many cells, I'm not like, oh, wow. But, anyways, I always like it somewhere in the middle. But, anyways, I really like this one. This is pretty cool. I'm not going to move it too much just because, there's really no need to. I kind of like this. This will probably take, because there's a lot of paint on there. If I push up from the bottom, no, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to leave it alone. Anyways, you can push up from the bottom and kind of get it to equally come out. See a little touch right there, a little spot. Anyways, I think this is done. What do you guys think? Whoops, touching the side. There we go. Trying to get the glare off of there. It's hard sometimes. Oh gosh. Anyways, guys, I thank you so much for stopping by, and hopefully, hopefully you get out there and use your blender and mix up some bigger batches so you can do more paintings. Thank you for stopping by.